At least we talked about all of that last night, you know? Uh, like, I know a lot of people aren't trusting Mahara right now, and I understand. I get it. It's kind of like, for me, at this point, I'm just like, I feel like I need to put my faith into somebody to help us because I don't think Rinka could get out of this herself because she's just not that kind of person. But with the whole Sonya, thing saying maybe fate can be changed, maybe what we can do can change. We don't know why Parsa is doing this. We don't know who this higher power than Parsa actually is. What if we can change fate? What if we can make it so me and Maharu get out? What if we can make it so every one of us could get out of here alive? Or maybe we all just die. Who knows? Maybe the story is actually that crazy and can change as drastic as that. Maybe I'm the only one that comes out. Maybe what if we do all die? Like, something crazy could happen, and it's insane to think about. But yeah, I slept so soundly last night that I didn't even dream. Dreams. What are dreams? Hard to believe such a concept has taken on a whole new meaning for me. I've never considered the possibility of a whole other world existing within our dreams. Not to mention a goddess like Parsa coming along and connecting me with others throughout said world. I mean, who could imagine meeting complete strangers within your own dreams? It'd be a romanticized situation if this were a shoujo manga, though, I'm sure. I cast my mind back to the other participants' appearances. That's when I remember something crucial.
おじいさん。
Yes. I was wondering like, they brought him up the one time. He literally looked like he didn't give a fuck about anything anymore and was just, Naomi's message from yesterday springs to mind. She said that there's something definitely suspicious about that girl and where she's staying. It's not just any old man either. He's Japanese. Holy shit, how come I didn't realize that? I just thought it was some random old man! That was numeral 5! I might be onto something. Actually, I should have caught on right away. I should have too! I just wasn't thinking about it because they haven't brought him up enough. There's still plenty of time before I need to be at school. I want to try something. My decision made, I make my way to the old man's house. By the way, someone told me that the decisions... There's decisions coming up that will actually lead me to a bad end. So I'm scared. Fortunately, I make my way all the way without getting lost. It's a pretty tricky route after all, but jotting down the address yesterday turned out to be worth it. But I probably would have been totally fine without it, considering I've somehow managed to memorize the route.
ここだ。
We got this, Rinka. I make sure to keep some distance away to avoid looking suspicious. It may be early in the morning, but people are still passing through. Once the area empties out, I check inside his mailbox. I feel pretty bad about doing this, but it is necessary. There are a slew of letters in here. Definitely more than a day's worth. Hey, sometimes I let days go by without even checking the mail. Most of them are from debt collectors. Well, not just from one collection agency either. There are multiple different senders. I ignore that, grab a random letter, and remove it from the box. I want to see to whom it's addressed, of course.
牛塚茂次さん。
And the card appears. That has to be the name of the old man living here. Just to be sure, I check the other letters as well. They all cite the same name. All that's left is to get a glimpse of his face. I consider waiting for him to leave the house, but I need to remain mindful of this time. As important as this is, I still have school. Fuck. Helps that I'm probably safest there, too. Just as I decide to stick around for as long as I can, I notice 2 figures in the distance. 2 figures that I recognize, even. One male, the other female. Both are foreigners, and tall.
あの二人。
Oh, motherfucker. God damn it. There's still plenty of distance between us, so I can't make out their faces. Not that I need to. I can tell based on their silhouettes. One's a beefy fucking woman, the other's a tall, skinny, lanky fucking dude. Not only are they participants, but they're also the most dangerous duo by far. Yup. Numerals 3 and 11. Frederico Carminati and his partner. Fuck. I instinctively ducked for cover. They have to be targeting the girl. They're like systematically just... What makes them decide who to attack for next? Like, are they going... Well, they went after what's-his-face first. So he was like... But he was like the closest, I guess, and like this... He was kind of an easy target. Are they going after the supposedly easy targets first? Because all they needed to do with Sonya was just grab her and be like, hey, tell us your shit or your parents are dead. Like that. Either that or they're looking for into the relationship between her and the old man, just as I am. Assuming he turns out to be a participant, it's likely they've tracked him down to here. Numeral 11 is carrying a notepad. I assume she's gotten a hold of his address somehow. In that case, they must be coming for him instead of the girl. After all, she wouldn't be listed as living here. Just as I'm deciding whether to stick around or head to school, the front door gets propped ajar. Noticing this, the duo ducks into a nearby alley. From what I can tell, Numeral 11's the one who prompts them to do so. That surprises me. She seems like the kind of person to leap in when the opportunity presents itself, so I don't expect her to tread carefully. Both the girl and the old man are likely aware of the situation they put themselves in, so it's only natural for them to scout out their surroundings before they leave the house. Deciding that the coast is clear, the door swings open. Light pours out of my bag all of a sudden. The moment that old man steps out of the house, in fact. Damn. That's when I become certain that he is Ushizuka Shigetsugu. His appearance matches what I saw in the dream world, a tenacious-looking old man. I got the impression he was a shut-in of sorts, but his current attire of a sweater and loose pants says the opposite. I don't care anymore. Numeral 11 and Frederico remain hidden for some reason. Regardless, I've confirmed that Ushizuka is a bona fide participant. It's safe to say that I'm putting myself in danger if I stay any longer. Get the fuck out of there, Rinka. As such, I slink back to the station, taking care not to bump into any of the others. God damn it, Rinka. I mean, Rinka's resourceful on her own a little bit. Oh, Lord, I have to be these guys. I'm always Frederico. I whisper to Odette when the old-timer leaves his house. Alright, I'll shut up now. She may have whispered, but she also slams her foot down on mine. Ow! Gotta admit, she's uncharacteristically cautious at times like this. You'd think someone massive like her would charge right in, but nope. She even keeps us a fair distance from the house to ensure we aren't even seen. Well, this is a whole different game. Granted, putting this much distance between us means she gets that. Means... Wait. Hold on, brain. Granted, putting this much distance between us means she gets that her massive body don't lend itself to stealth. Did that sentence make any sense to me? Yes, but enough about her. Let me recall how we ended up here in the first place. Alright, please do. Me, in my brain. Me and Odette had to talk about who to target after the third election, where that crazy thin Japanese lady got eliminated. Odette's intuition played a bigger part in us targeting Ro, so we still hadn't made use of the cards we were dealt with at the beginning. Knowing that we'd be a name or two among those initial cards, we decided to go after whoever was in my set. Ah, so that's what they're doing. Okay. Makes more sense. I should have figured that was the case. Normally I'd be against showing off my cards, but Odette told me which card she'd taken from Ro immediately afterwards, so whatever. Well, not like she chose to do that without planning to get something in return. Turns out I had that Russian kid's kind of name as well. Sophia something something. The kid had been through some rough stuff, but it ain't any of my concern. We took her parents hostage, and Odette got her to spill her life story. Still fucked up. Thing is, she implied that she had one of Odette's cards. Not only that, but Odette decided to give her some time to screw around. Time to let her get over her regret, really. Can't say why she did it. But there ain't no point in trying to get that into that woman's head. I think Odette does things because it feels like she's a way more complex character than we give her credit for. I wouldn't have been able to learn so much about Sophia with just her name, so I decided not to complain. Had things gone according to plan, Odette would have eliminated Sophia. But that Maharu broad one-upped her. Make no mistake, Audette ain't the type to let something like that slow her down. We're in the same in that regard. Plenty of things went awry for me back in Italy, but I never took issue with it. In fact, those situations are when people expose their worst side. You gotta make the most of that. Just like I said in the Court of Fate, 2 of the 3 cards dealt to me at the beginning belong to the participants that have already been eliminated, so I'm fucked. Next up is numeral 5, Ushizuka. Not gonna say the name. Undead had his name card, so we used it to dig some dirt up on him, and here we are.
おい、ぼーっとしてんじゃねえ。撤退するぞ。
That was a lot of exposition for him in his head. He was just
あ？なんでだよ。相手はジジイだ。とっ捕まえて情報を吐かせりゃいいだろうが。
There's more at play than what you think.
それか、あいつのいないうちに家に入っちまえばいいだろ。
バカかってんだ。これから通勤ラッシュの時間に入る。ただでさえ私らは目立つんだ。通報でもされたら厄介だろう。
That's true. There's totally there has to be like a bunch of people walking around. Like, we were trying to avoid bumping into people.
早朝か深夜にもう一度来る必要がある。ここは住宅街だからな。ソフィアやローの時よりも慎重に行かねえと。
I hate how they do this. How they just, like, strong arm them. Kind of like Alan. Except Alan is, like, way more fucking extreme, it sounds like. Or maybe they're, like, the same, almost. I mean, she did threaten to, like, hurt her parents. But then again, Alan threatened to systematically kill a baby every minute they didn't, fucking Kaiko didn't tell the information.
俺より目立つのはあんただけどな。
She smashes her foot down on mine again. Ow! Guess she isn't too pleased about the implication that she's the only one who stands out.
だけどさ、結局新しい情報は得られなかっただろ。
I mean, out of the two, I'd say Audette does stand out more.
いや、あの家がジジイの住処だってわかれば死因は予想できる。
ボロっちい家だが、それでわかるのか。いや、なるほどな、だからか。
He had to think about it for a moment.
珍しく察しがいいじゃねえか。言ってみろ。
Figured she'd spill the beans if I acted like I caught on, but fuck, that didn't go as planned. Now I know not to even bother pretending. She smacks my shoulder before she continues.
他に身寄りがないジジイだ。日本じゃそういう連中が孤独死してしばらくしてから発見されるってのは問題になってるらしいじゃねえか。日本は特に閉鎖的なコミュニティ。村社会だっつうから起こりやすいのかもしれねえな。腐った死体やらの清掃なんかを専門にしてる業者すらあるらしい。まあ、それはいい。
Ugh. It's kind of fucked up, but I mean, it's a thing.
てめえが話を聞いた主婦の言葉を思い出しな。
まあ、ベラベラと喋る太った主婦だったな。
I think back to what she told me. Seems like there were rumors of him kicking the bucket since he rarely left the house.
ガシか。しかし、いくら孤立したジジイでも先進国でガシはないんじゃないか。金の補助は国から受けてたんだろうし。
そうでもないさ。あの主婦はジジイが腰を痛めてることも話してただろ。
God, this old man. He's so fucked. Yeah, that's right, she did. Don't know why she remembers most of the stuff more than me when I was the one who talked to the woman.
ひどい腰痛ってのは自力で動けなくなることがある。私が船に乗ってた時にもそうなっちまった乗組員はいた。
Dude, once your back is fucked, it's over for you.
ジジイが家で突然そのレベルの腰痛に襲われたとしよう。元から患ってたんなら突発ではねえけど、とにかく孤立しているから助けを求められない。近所の連中も ジジイが家から出てこないのは慣れっこだから気にしない。金だけもらって介護を受けてるわけじゃねえから、短期間じゃ訪問もねえ。人間は7日飯を食えなかったら、あるいは3日水が飲めなければ死ぬんだ。私はよく知ってる。
You can last without food for a while. Water's a different story. I can tell she's serious by the tone of her voice. Knowing what she's been involved in, I wouldn't be surprised if her crew had come close to starvation at some point. That, or she's seen it happen to one of her shipmates before, or maybe even happened to her.
重度の腰痛で動けなくなっちまい、助けも呼べず、そのままガチか。ありえない話じゃないと思うが、そんな早く。
A familiar light emanates from my book. Oh shit. The sign that a new card's been made. The same thing happens for Audette too. When she notices, she can't help but grin. It's honestly sickening just how good she is at this.
だけど、動けないほどの腰痛があっても、さっきジジイは外に出てたな。
How do you classify that death though? Like, what's the card even say? Like, how do you, how do you summarize that in just a few words? Like, died of starvation? From back pain? Brain?
ソフィー・ランジェラの時もそうだったが、選定の間は体がある程度回復してるってことなのか。
てめえの予想の通りだろうな。肉体の状態はどこかの時点まで戻されるって考えた方が良さそうだ。
Then does that mean if you do live, then you are cured? Or not? She nods in reaffirmation after repeating what I said. I half expected her to say she doesn't care, so it took me by surprise. Her expression reverts to its usual state, and then she turns around.
ほらよ、十分収穫はあった。いい加減戻るぞ。
We head back the way we came, making sure not to get spotted by Ushizuka. Fuck. Oh no. Unbeknownst to Rinka, Alan had been tailing her for the past few days. Oh my god. It brings him to the residential district where Ushizuka, whose name he has yet to learn, lives. What's more, he has learned the whereabouts of both her school and Lion House. Oh, fuck, I'm so fucking dead. Seeing that she's making her way to school after obtaining the elderly man's card, he chooses to stop tailing her for the time being. He closes his eyes and recalls her figure.
Link.
Okay, stop. Eliminating her would prove a simple task, were he to actively focus on it. However, a number of reasons prevent him from doing so. The first is her relationship with numeral 2, Miharu. She may have gone to lengths to make it seem like they had a falling out, but Alan witnessed them being friendly at Lion House. It confirmed to him that they are still cooperating. One cannot target Shishimai Rinka without first dealing with Habinata Miharu. That ain't happening. You leave Miharu out of this. You leave us both out of this. Alan has no idea which card she was dealt at the beginning either, which is the main reason for his hesitation in getting involved with her. Her actions during the previous selection show that she cannot be underestimated. She may have eliminated a girl far younger than herself, but she went head to head with numeral 11 to obtain election rights. Well, Audette just kind of backed down like, ooh, I don't want to risk this. The biggest reason of all, however, is that Alan has found himself under suspicion of Japan's police. Oh shit. His recklessness while obtaining Kambuchi Kaiko's information has landed him in a tight spot. He made sure to scout out the positions of each camera in the hospital and cut off those he couldn't avoid. But something unexpected happened. He somehow ended up on the list of suspects responsible for the attack on the hospital. Under normal circumstances, he would use illegal means to ensure that he would not be arrested, but his current situation does not allow for that. Especially because he holds far less influence in Japan than back in India, where his company is based. Wouldn't that be like a international affair at that point? Like some bigwig from a company that's big in India comes over and like causes a super ruckus, right? Like a hospital break-in, knocking out a ton of hospital people. That's an incident. Definitely international, right? He may have some leeway, but now's no time to flex those muscles. Valid as these reasons are, Alan is simply using them as a means to distract himself from the reality of the matter. Is a far simpler reason behind his choice to not pursue Rinka, one that he had noticed earlier. The look in her eyes reminded him of himself. Not only does she lack his amassed fortune, but she is also nowhere near as physically imposing, and yet, somehow, her eyes burn with a determination matching his own. It's because Rinka's a fucking badass. Alan has the chance to learn the old man's name the same way Rinka did, but he opts not to. To be more accurate, he can't. This is thanks to his spotting particular duo, keeping their eye on the old man's home. Numerals 3 and 11. Alan arrived after Rinka's departure, so they likely had no idea she was also there.
11番の女は確か5番氏名を取得していたな。
That was more than enough reason to understand why she was here. With sufficient connections at one's disposal, learning where someone lives based on their name alone is a simple feat. What surprises Alan is the fact that someone like her would cooperate with numeral 3. The sheer stupidity he displayed in the Court of Fate had Alan convinced that he could be left for later, but that was no longer the case if he's with numeral 11. It may not seem like it, but Alan has respect for those who have eliminated other participants. Only 2 people have earned his respect thus far. One's Maharu, and the other is numeral 11. Alan can also tell that the latter is no ordinary person. One glance was all he needed to understand her background and the deeds in which she had been involved. Based on what he's seen, she seems to have the upper hand with numeral 3.
男の方は手足か、あるいは鉄砲玉といったところか。
Oh yeah, she's definitely the brains of the operation.
まあいい。今すべきは。
His target switches from the old man to those 2. Keeping an eye on them will likely lead to him getting his hands on numeral 5's information without much effort. Not only that, but discovering where they're based now, while unaware of his plans, will give him the advantage later down the line. That may be enough to make up for the disadvantage his celebrity status gives him. He begins to tail the 2, taking extra care not to be noticed. That's so crazy. Alan's after those 2 now. Oh, God. Soon after, Alan returns to the residential district. His attempt to tail them hasn't ended as well as had hoped. Not from being noticed, though. Alan trusts himself to not slip up when it comes to that. However, those 2 must have unconsciously taken a path to shake any potential pursuers. It eventually led to him losing sight of them.
やはりあの女が優先か。
Yeah, you gotta get rid of the strongest, right? He mutters to himself so as not to stand out. He then makes his way back to his own base of operations. The time has come for him to finally take action. Oh, we're gonna get like the Audette fucking Alan showdown. It's gonna be so cool. Oh, after a long day, I finally have some time to relax in my room. Nothing noteworthy has happened beyond this morning's events. Although I guess the fact that my class has finally gotten around to prepping for the Culture Festival counts as noteworthy. Sounds like they've moved forward with the fortune teller idea. Ugh. The one in charge will essentially prepare a bunch of fortune telling methods and use them on whoever stops by. They've gone with this plan because the one in charge wants to test out these so-called methods. Fortune telling, reading one's fate. Funny how they've ended up with that after the things I've experienced. At least I'm not involved in the plans or being asked for my opinion. They're just gonna ask me and Maharu to help the day of. Mao, on the other hand, seems fascinated by the whole thing. She'll be helping to prep it as well as work longer than we will during the festival.
真面目な顔して思わせぶりなこと言っておけばいいんだよね。うち得意な気がする。
That's my jams. Just what you'd expect to hear from her. Wonder if they'll manage to finish everything on time, since the Culture Festivival's in 2 weeks. I bet we're the only ones in only class this far behind schedule. Oh, Rinka. We're gonna get you out of there. I already feel exhausted and it's barely 10 p.m. Well, it makes sense considering I left the house so early this morning. Ushizuka Shigetsugu. I said it! I repeat the elderly man's name in my head to make sure I don't forget it. Now I have to find out his cause of death and regret, but I'm not quite sure how to go about it. I'm still curious about the girl that's staying with him too. While I do have her cause of death card, all I know is that a fire is involved, nothing else. It's probably the biggest issue with the cards that dealt to us at the beginning.
問題はここからどうすればいいかだね。
Yeah, we can't. Let's not run blind, please. As if things aren't difficult enough, I've got Frederico and numeral 11 to worry about as well. Things may have gone well enough yesterday and today, but that doesn't mean I'm a pro when it comes to tailing people and such. It's entirely possible that I'll mess up at some point and get myself stuck in a tight spot. Regardless, I can't sit back and let those two get the upper hand. One option is to throw caution to the wind and approach Ushizuka directly, but, you know, that's way too risky. Numeral 11 would likely end up adding me to her list of targets alongside him and the girl if I did that. I try searching Ushizuka Shigetsugu on the internet, but I don't get any relevant results. Getting info on him without putting myself out there seems tricky. Well, that's because he's just some old man. Like, he's not like a thing. I can't just waltz over to the city hall and ask for his family register when I'm completely unrelated to him either. Unless we pose as being related. That's why I'm going to approach things from a different angle. I do have an advantage over that duo. A majority of the participants, myself included, are from Japan, plus most are located near Shinjuku, an area rich with schoolgirls, just like me. It keeps me from standing out in most situations, which is advantageous. Rinka, you look completely different than all these girls. you got the baddest ass hair, and you have red eyes. Like, what? The only issue is that the sole approach I can think of involves questioning the locals near his residence. Actually, that might not be too bad of an idea. I did shuffle over there pretty early this morning, so there weren't many people around. It's probably why those two showed up when they did too. They aimed for a time when few people would be around.
私なら人が多い時間でも。
It's hardly normal to ask questions about some random old man. But hey, it'll still seem less suspicious than either of those two doing the same. If I really need to, I can even pretend to be the granddaughter of an ex-wife or something. I just need to act like Naomi did at the hospital where Kaiko was. I'll try going in the evening. Everyone's running around shopping around then. Not only does it give me more people to question, but I can also blend into the crowds if need be. With that sorted, I should sleep as much as possible, so I'll be ready to take action. But just as I'm about to turn off the lights, I hear a distinct meow coming from down and by my feet. It's none other than Leth, our friendly little freeloading cat.
あ、レテ、どうしたの？
That cat just meeped at you. I always make sure to feed it and have water out, so I doubt it's hungry. It doesn't respond to my question, of course. It'd be pretty freaky if it did. That'd be amazing. Hello, Rinka. Well, we all already know he's that fucking person at the very beginning when the fate thing happened.
私、もう寝るからね。
I want to give it some attention, but I'm a bit too tired tonight. She always refers to the cat as it. I've noticed that. It's kind of weird. I flick off the light and clamber into bed. Leth follows suit, which is rare. It prefers to sleep atop the covers, not under them. This little rascal has the habit of using my stomach as its pillow, too. I stroke its head for a moment before shutting my eyes and focusing on sleep. It's amazing how warm something with such a tiny body can be. That's true. Cats, dogs, super warm. Oh my god. We gotta see him. There's a term for when one realizes they're dreaming. Lucid dreaming. And if you can master lucid dreaming, you are the master of your own destiny. Ever since Divine Selection began, I've experienced it at least once per week. Granted, I'm not quite sure that you can call what goes on in the Court of Fate a dream. Whatever. I find myself once again in a strange place, despite knowing for a fact that I went to sleep not long ago.
やあ、
Yup. There he
お
is!
久しぶりでもないのかな。私は人間の時間の感覚がよくわからなくてね。
I've seen this man once before. It's only now that I remember having met him in my dreams before, too.
私のことは覚えているかい？いや、今思い出したのだろうね。
He knows. He knows I just remembered.
君が君の大事な記憶を忘れてしまっているように、この夢の中での出来事も忘れてしまうという必然性があるからね。
Ah, motherfucker. I don't like losing memories. I want to say something, but I find myself unable to speak. He dominates the conversation.
君はコーヒーのお店をやっているそうだけれど、私は紅茶の方に興味があってね。一度アフタヌーンティーというものを楽しみたいと思っているのだけれど。
Give the cat some tea, damn it.
もっともこの夢の世界では一緒に語り合う相手がいないどころか、ティーセットというものが存在しないこと自体が残念だよ。
This man knows who I am. I'm not sure how important that realization is when I'm likely to forget everything he says, though.
さて、そろそろ雑談もいいだろう。今夜はもう一つ、君の抜け落ちていた記憶が舞い戻ってきたのだからね。お祝いの言葉を告げるために、わざわざ出向かせていただいたよ。どんな記憶かって？おっと、君が夢の中で記憶を取り戻す前に出てきてしまったね。
Thanks, Leth.
やはり人間の時間の概念は難しい。一方的に流れるだけではあるのだけれど、感覚がつかみにくいよ。では、朝を迎える前に少しだけ君の記憶を思い出すといい。
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. You think Leth is like a person who could protect me? What if he is the higher power? Would that make sense? I just am assuming it's Leth because, you know, they literally like have the same blue shit on them, you know what I mean? I'm standing alone in the court of fate. I'm on the same platform as usual, but for some reason none of the other participants are here.
ごきげんよう。運命の奴隷となってしまった哀れな子羊様。
What does that mean? Am I the chosen one? Mother of God! A girl dressed in all white addresses me. It's Parsa. She stands in front of me despite the fact that there's no solid surface beneath her feet, which is would be kind of creepy. I watch from a distance as both of us face one another. And I can't talk. I conclude that this is one of my memories, since I'm able to watch myself as though I'm a third party. Oh, okay.
命を落としてしまったあなた様の精神は今、運命をさまよってらっしゃいますわ。ですが、あなた様は改変された運命の中で女神の選定の参加者になっていただきます。
She begins to tell me about divine selection. Ah, that's when she did the first time. She explains all the rules. I watch myself to try to get a word in every now and then, but she ignores each attempt. Everything she's explaining here is the exact same as what she told us during the first election. Memories of an explanation I had heard before. This must have taken place right after I died then. Considering the in-depth explanation she's giving, it's no wonder she was unimpressed with me when I asked her about it again. Well, remembering this explanation of rules that I already know is more pointless than one would expect, too.
ただし、忘れてはいけないことが一つございます。
Oh, is she gonna give us one more extra rule?
あなた様方12人は皆、12週間後の同じ時、同じ場所にいた可能性を持っていました。一度は失われてしまった未来で到達していたはずの場所。その場所こそ、あなた様方の運命の終着点となりますわ。選定で最後の一人となられましたら、必ずその時までにその場所へ向かってくださいませ。
Something...
運命の終着点にたどり着いて、初めてあなたが死の運命を回避し、生き残ることができたという運命が定着いたしますわ。
Okay, I got that. I already knew that. Well, not exactly how everything.
もし運命の終着点にたどり着かなければ、それはその時のお楽しみということにいたしましょう。
I actually hate you so much. Fucking. She didn't mention a specific time or place. Instead, she placed her finger on my brow. She closed her eyes, and then her finger began to glow. She didn't need words for this part. With that touch, Parsa etched the final destination into our minds. Mother of God. This game is getting just more crazier and crazier and it's like a good spot to end it. Do I really? You know what, fuck it. My eyes jolt open after a night of sleep. I remember exactly what I saw in my dream. Immediately after my death, I was taken to the Court of Fate. I almost said the Fort of Kate. And met with Parsa. She explained the rules that I had heard during the first election. No wonder she was so impressed when I asked again. I'm fairly sure she told me my cause of death and regret as well, but I can't remember any of that. I remember something far more important though.
運命の終着点。
This was the first time I'd heard of it. Becoming the final participant alone isn't enough. I will need to get to this place afterwards. It's a place I know quite well.
あの公園のナオミと話したあの場所。
Oh shit, that place has some way more significance. It's a huge park located in Shinjuku. A plaza from which you can see the clock tower-esque building in the distance is there. It's one of my favorite spots. That's where all 12 of us are meant to gather. The final destination of our individual fates.
まさかそんなことって。
Huh. To think, man. It's hard not to be surprised. That park is pretty close to my home. 12 weeks after Divine Selection begins, or 7 weeks from now, the weather will likely be nice, so I can't say that I wouldn't have gone for a walk there. Besides, it's also a popular tourist spot. Sonia mentioned that she had planned on coming to Japan with her family in the first place. It wouldn't be surprising if she would have gone there with them. As for the others, I'm not sure why they'd go there. But the fact remains that it's a popular spot. There are plenty of reasons to check it out. It also explained the deja vu I felt when I was talking with Naomi there. Parsa had shown me that scenery once before. I'm not sure how to describe the sensation I experienced when she did so. I guess it'd be similar to the feeling you get when you're dreaming.
そういうことだったんだ。
It's like all just clicking into place. Just holy shit. I can finally answer a number of questions that I've been asking myself. It explains why most participants are Japanese, as well as why those who aren't have gathered in Japan. Parsa never did explain why that place is our final destination, much like how she never discussed how or why divine selection exists, which is why I want to fucking... That's like the biggest question I want to know. She probably deemed it to be unnecessary information. Either way, I've managed to regain an important memory regarding the whole process. By the time I finished processing this revelation, I noticed that a certain feline isn't beside me anymore. I guess it slinked off at some point while I was asleep.
まったく自由なやつだにゃ。
Oh, uh-oh, what's happening? I let slip an awful cat pun without even thinking about it. Look, I was just gonna ignore it. At least there's no one at the door. I might have gone ahead and elected myself for elimination if someone caught me saying that. Just as I start to get ready for school, I check the time and my heart nearly jumps out of my throat. I must have been in a pretty deep sleep. I woke up half an hour later than usual. Jesus. I want to know. Oh no. I want to know why divine selection exists. I hope it does tell us all this information. Why it exists. What's the point? Who's the higher power? Who's Leth? Is Leth the higher power? If so, is he helping us? Because it sounds like he's like chilling around with us. He's clearly that dude, right? So is he? Do we have like an upper hand? Because I got that memory back. Am I the only one that got that memory back? So No, of course not. Of course not, because they were all gathering there or here, and we already live. A lot of us already live here. Oh, there's just so much. I can't even make a good theory. I can't. My brain, help me.